get started here. So I've been really excited about this one because it seems like every time I'm supposed to meet JP, I get sick, I get pneumonia, something happens, I have to go out of town, whatever, and it's like, oh, we finally like connected like face to face, you know? So this is pretty cool for me. I'm excited because I've heard so many good things from everybody at the university, outside the university, about JP. So now you have a lot to live up to. But,
oh boy.
And of course, reading these bios is always like, oh boy, here we go, reading. It's fundamental, right?
Yes.
But so I'll just paraphrase some of this, but JP is really into creating world-class guest experiences. He developed his fundamentals in marketing and public relations from Ball State, as well as adult training and consulting from North Carolina State, so well pedigreed. Harnessed veteran customer service skills acquired at Disney Institute, which I've done too, good stuff.
Yep.
He works around people, with people, and for people. Sounds good, my kind of guy. Earned a hospitality certification from IUPUI. So we're a lifetime learner, right?
Yes.
Venturing into positions with small and large organizations alike. In February 2011, by the way, as awkward as this is for me, it's more awkward for him when somebody's reading your bio. In February 2011, he worked as the chief concierge and hospitality training specialist during, oh boy, Super Bowl. I gotta do math here. Super Bowl
2011
in Indy. JP developed a trained team of hospitality professionals to create memorable game day fan experience for the Indianapolis Colts, resulting in club and suite renewals. Awesome. Sounds fun, doesn't it? Okay, we're ready to get this party started.
Let's roll, man.
All right. So maybe just start out by sharing a little bit about your journey, about your business, what you do.
Sure.
To get some context.
Well, I would be the silliest, craziest person first and foremost. Thank you, Rob, really. I've been looking forward to this, and I see a dear friend, alum in the audience, so that's awesome. But kudos to Ball State, right? The foundation, the board of directors, the alumni, my dear, dear friend, Dr. Dubois, Kathy, mentor, Stefan, Jones, and countless other people, and Candy, and without them, and my mentor, and especially, I'll get a little choked up, this lady, Adrian, who is an alum of Ball State, who makes everything possible that I get to do and my team gets to do, Rob. So I couldn't start anything without starting there, right? So that you know who I am. But man, where do you start? I thought about this long and hard when I got kind of an idea, and I don't know the exact year, but I recall being small enough, size-wise and stature, right, but not big enough to carry the full-blown commercial trimmer. And you're like, trimmer? Like lawn care trimmer? You're like, what does that have to do with entrepreneurism? Well, what you don't know is that's where the bud began. There's a guy. There's always a guy or a lady, and it was Jay Sheets in Columbus, Ohio. Celtic Pride Lawn Service. Celtic Pride. We had these, I'm not going to tell on Jay, but I'm going to say we had this Boston Celtic shirt, and we had the logo and everything on there, and he had his name, and every guy, my age, I don't know, maybe 12, 13, up to seniors in high school, and all of his son's friends, we all wanted a summer job, and Jay was kind enough to hire the smallest of these, and I'm like, Jay, I just want to cut the yards like the big kids. And Jay would come in the morning. He was, if I remember right, he worked with an electric company or water company, something like that, and so that was his really full-time profession, but he had a hustle. And his hustle was he had a lawn care business, and he took over different communities and pushed out commercial guys with all these little high school kids. And it was our summer training, athletics. But I remember a couple things business-wise. The guy created a business, that wasn't his strength necessarily. He got his kids and family involved. He trained those behind him how to do what he did, and then he wasn't necessarily out there, but he would get out there and show us how to do it, and then he would get out of our way. But then Rob also saw how he took care of people. So that was where the idea to me started. It was like, I can be like Jay, and hey, I've got a name like him. And so you fast forward it, I went to Ball State and got the programs in marketing and got an internship. One of my internships was working with, you guys know the Limited Corporation, like Bath and Body, Cacique, gosh, why am I having brain cramp? Nonetheless, I got a chance to see what corporate world was like, and I said, okay, this is great, and fast forwarded. I got an amazing job after graduation with Merck & Company, and I've worked for some commercial cleaning companies and became their trainer, but Merck & Company taught me how to work and look really professional. Scheduling, expense management. These names will mean nothing to you, but these were key in my development into my business. So Paul Begard gave me a chance and taught me how when you fail and your back is against the wall, give it all you got. Lean into it. Dave Clark, a manager, was like, man, you have such a unique skill set. When you leave Merck, JP, you're going to be outstanding. And I was like, when I leave Merck, what are you talking about? I'm going to retire here. And lo and behold, many years later, I got downsized in 2017, and Dave was right. And then one of my favorites, and we probably disagreed more than we agreed, is Jeff Huffman. So Jeff and I would do these ride-alongs in the car, and we were different individuals. But the one thing was cool, one of the things that Jeff did as a leader is he connected on socks with me one day. I love socks, color socks. And he showed me some socks he had, and as different as we were leadership-wise, he told me, hey man, here's some things you have to do for the business commercially with us, but if you ever leave Merck, this is gonna help you later in life. And boy, was that guy right, Rob. So all of those people helped me get to where I am as a concierge, and we'll get into what that exactly looks like, I'm sure.
Okay, all right, so interesting background, huh? So what would you say was the most significant challenge you faced, and how did you overcome it?
January, before the 15th, so maybe the 1st through the 15th of 2020. Anybody remember what happened in 2020 or where you were? Well, I got a call in November of 2019 from a client, Jumpstart Advisory Group. I was doing the hospitality management coordinating consulting for this company, a dear friend's company, and I talked to their global team, and their global team said, hey, JP, there's something coming that you need to be aware of globally. We're over in East Asia, Malaysia, India, and you should begin having contacts with your hotels, transportation companies, blah, 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 in November of 2019. Well, I was like, yeah, whatever, and I started looking at the news, and I'm like, Then my good friend over in India, he called me, and he goes, did you do what I asked? I said, I kind of looked at it, Rob, but I didn't do. But like I said, between January of that year, the 1st through the 15th, it kind of started hitting home. And then I had to sit down with the two principals of Jumpstart and say, hey, all of these programs that you have globally for students, you should probably cancel them. And boy, it sounded about as quiet as it did in here. And they said, we spent thousands of dollars and made all these reservations and brought in all these companies, organizations, academic institutions. And they said, that's a significant dollar amount that we have to refund. Are you telling us you want us to refund all those people? There it was. One of the biggest challenges I had at this point. I had to either trust my gut or help them chase the money. And one of my key principles I'll talk about later on here is I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I want you to do. You should refund these people, these attendees, these individuals, these companies, because they're going to remember that kind act of hospitality that you did. That money will come back. And it did. And so he couldn't do it. They made me get online, refund. I remember me and an assistant of mine, we did it for all of the attendees for all these programs. I mean, it took us all day. And be honest, man, I bet I cried at the end of the day because I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but it did.
Integrity over everything.
Over everything.
Cool. Thinking about style, thinking about how you approach things, the lens you see things through.
Mm-hmm.
In the entrepreneurship class that's represented here, and some of those students who are taking the leadership class have had me for that leadership class last year. But we use an assessment tool that we created. Your style, I believe, was equal evangelist artist.
Yep.
And so for the students who aren't familiar with that, evangelist, you can kind of imagine, it's kind of self-explanatory, like someone who kind of preaches from the rooftops and has a consistent message and is kind of rallies people together, whether that's employees, customers, partners, whatever. And then artist is kind of what it sounds like too. It's really value people, value people's contributions, value the creative side of things. So I guess the first question is, how well do you think that describes you?
Spot on, right? It was spot on. That was the first assessment I've had in a little while like that. And it was to the T, right? I have to be the chief communicator of the mission and the message. In our world, we have, as an artist, I have to be able to thrive and engage in an ambiguity. I have to be super clear and concise to our team and our affiliates and our customers about the message. One of the things on the evangelist I've learned as I've gone through that assessment, I'm going, you can't really preach to someone and have an effective message until you spend some time with you. Chloe, I'll pick up Chloe in the audience for a second. So I went around and introduced myself to a lot of people here before we started. And the evangelist in me said, find one person. And so I sat next to my friend from Chicago, Chloe. Raise your hand, Chloe. Atta girl. Freshman. Love it. First year. And not to pick out on her, but when we're in these leadership roles, especially as an evangelist or an artist, you find one person. I have a friend here who I know has my back. Every purchase for Christmas, birthdays, anniversaries, and Tina here has my back. She's my evangelist when it comes in terms of holidays. She's like, JP, have you shopped? JP, did you get your wife this? No, she won't like that. But Chloe is my friend in the audience. And so as an evangelist, as I talk to all of you students, I have one person and I'm really talking to, is my friend Chloe. And I learned that from a lot of the time that I spent with other professionals who helped me understand that assessment. So Chloe, thank you. Tina, thank you for letting me poke on you a little bit, but it's super helpful for the guy in the chair who's going, oh dear God, am I saying the right thing?
Very, very cool. So everybody would approach a venture, their leadership influence differently. Those are your lenses. But how, maybe just a little more on how they influence your leadership style.
Truly. Going into events, I'll give you a recent one, the All-Star Game. I was the chief concierge for the All-Star Game. Outside of that, I also had a client. Anybody heard of this customer athletic company and they have three stripes? Say that louder. Right. Now, to the Nike guy, I kind of knew Nike, but I didn't know Adidas. And so I had to learn who Adidas was. And from my style of leadership and evangelizing, right, and become an artist, I had to learn who that company was while leading a team over here on other concierge-related type activities, Rob. And so I had to bring up and communicate to my team, I'm not an Adidas guy, you guys. You got to help me. And so as an artist, you paint some things and it doesn't necessarily always look right. But so I had to trust and lean into my team to help me with my Adidas friends through that. And you guys, the end of the story was they had an outstanding experience, the Adidas company. We had their senior leadership. We had, I think, 14 of the 20-some players responsible for their normal daily movements in our vehicles. Man, you want to talk about on the edge of my seat the entire duration. And then we also had some of the up-and-coming high school and elite players that they were there. So my head was on a swivel the entire weekend. But I found, back to my example just a second ago, I found a Chloe in this group who was this young lady, and it was a young man, and they helped me really stay focused on those young elite guys while my team were really leading and taking care of the other stuff. But I had to trust them on that. And that's the blend on that leadership style.
Beautiful. So it's like you anticipated the next question. So if you think about the details you were talking about, the scientist builder type stuff.
Oh, yeah.
On the bottom of the equation, your team was filling those voids, so they
100%.
complimented you.
100%.
Very good.
So from an evangelist, you often come in conflict. So evangelist to the upper left, artist to the upper right, builder down in the quadrant to the left, scientist down in the right. For me, my intersection of the evangelist and the artist are right above where the circle comes together for all quadrants. And they're like mirror. I'm often challenged by the scientist, and although I worked for a former healthcare company, Merck & Company, so I would always come into conflict with those types, and then the builder types, they always wanted everything to be picture perfect. And I said, it's never gonna be that way. That's life, right? Life.
So you balance the different lenses. They're all important.
Yes.
And you complement yourself.
You're right. So you bring in talent, and so today, if you check out my LinkedIn page, today we announced officially a new division of our company in home services, so indoor-outdoor services. That's not my specialty and skills, although remember I told you I started out with the idea of lawn care and landscaping. It evolved, and I remembered that, and I know this guy and his crew are really good at it, and I'm going to teach him how to look through the lens of an evangelist and also an artist, and the hospitality lens. He's good, and that's why he's on our team, but we're going to, as a crew, all the boxes are going to make each other better.
Cool. So the message, you don't have to be good at everything.
No.
You let other people shine.
Yes.
And in the next question, I don't even think we need to ask it, right? How do you create a positive work culture? I think we get it, right? We get it, unless you just want to answer it.
Yeah, no, it's, for me, I'm a Christian, right? And so the way that I do it is, for me, I get on my knees and align myself vertically with my God. And I pray for not just me and my family, but my team, right? I pray for my team to experience challenges, because that only makes us better. I pray that they see my strengths and my weaknesses, and then I'm able, like I was today. On the way here, I was sharing with someone, on the way here, I had a mentor session, Rob. I had a mentor session with my mentor on the way here. He called, he wanted to be here. Chris Barney, you'll look this guy up. This guy's amazing. And I get to spend a lot of time with him. And the culture that I wanted to bring here and the experience that I left with my team is exactly the same. He goes, Jay, just go be you. Wear your sneakers. Wear some cool socks. Get to meet the guy you've been waiting on. Look in the audience and see your friend Tina. Go introduce yourself to a Chloe. So if you do that each and every time, you look back, you may have some people following you. That's the craziest thing ever.
So, talking about mentoring, network, building your support system, your support network. I mean, you've already hit on it quite a bit, but how has that helped you like be who you are today? Does it have an ear for this?
Yeah, this I have to give a lot of credit, like I said, to Jay Sheets. But that with the hospitality company, the concierge business, this guy Craig Joseph. He sat down one day. He was like, hey, man, what would you like to do? And I'm sure I heard that before, but it was mic drop moment. And I'm like, me? Like really, really like to do? And I sat there for a long time, Rob, and I thought, I really want to solve problems for people because we waste so much time. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, when I cut grass, I learned that the people could cut grass back in the day. And then when I worked at Merck & Company, the doctors were so busy, they're like, oh my God, I got to figure out how to go get my oil changed. I just don't have time because I'm dealing with patients and I got to see my kids and I just need some rest. But something in the back of my mind said, always be in the problem-solving business. And my friend heard me. And then another friend heard me. But that guy said, oh, like a concierge. The rest is history.
That's great. Entrepreneurs are problem solvers. And leaders help solve problems, and you empower people
Yes.
to start to do it on their own and do it as a team, right?
Yes. Yes.
So let's talk impact, values, purpose. Good stuff, right? How would you say your leadership style reflects your values first?
Being the evangelist artist, I am the evangelist at my house, and my style let me share the secret real fast. You ready? This is noteworthy. Ready? Don't write, seriously. There's no such thing as work-life balance. Everybody, like, what? I'm going to say it real slow so they'll understand it. There is no such thing as work-life balance as an entrepreneur. You try, you strive, but trust me. Last night, my phone rang at about 10:45 from a client. Wasn't a bad thing. She just said, oh my God, my vehicle looks amazing. Your team went and got it detailed. I sent her a message earlier in the day. I said, hey, curious, I haven't heard back. Did you see your vehicle? So my style of checking in with people, see how they're doing when I mentor and then when I'm being mentored too, aligns exactly with my business and the mission, and then how I engage with people. My wife, and it's funny, beautiful lady she is and smart as anything, she'll say as an artist, that's probably where I struggle the most. Tina's laughing, she knows her well. My wife says, I'm sure Picasso was really a confusing individual. Jean-Baptiste Basquiat, this guy, was a very perplexing, confusing individual, but now we all talk about him because they did what they loved. They maybe have solved problems for people, and that's what I hope I'm understood. My team, my closest one in our business, Kelsey, that many of you will hopefully get a chance to meet. If you shoot messages to our company, it'll be Kelsey. When you see social media, Rob, that's Kelsey, because I learned I'm not really good at it. She is, so get out the way. So the leadership style, I think it complements me personally and me professionally.
What would you say your purpose is, broadly speaking?
Yes.
And how does that impact your business?
Yeah, it's spot on. Can everybody agree? Show of hands. Is time a luxury? Okay, you can take them down. For those who say time isn't a luxury, raise your hand. Because I have one question I want to see who will answer. No one's bold enough? Nah, I got all the time in the world. Well, when I was in your audience, I thought I had all the time in the world. Yeah. We abuse time. Here was a phrase that I heard. I have to look at this one more time. Time is non-refundable. Once you use it or spend it, you can't get it back. And so if you can't remember anything about being impactful and having a mission and vision and purpose, for me, it's utilizing this most precious commodity that we all have in common. And then for me and my business, Rob, it's as our team, how do we take care of others and helping give them time back? They're going to spend something called green paper. That's all it is. It just has a monetary amount on it. It's just green paper. What we're giving them is the commodity back, time. Yeah, a mentor told me it was just green paper. I said, I know, but I needed to pay some things.
Just a medium, right?
Just a medium.
So what kind of an impact would you hope to have on like your community?
For me, mentoring is everything. I have been mentored for so long, and you can try to affect the big pond, but I'm just trying to start affect with the little puddle right near me, right? This week alone, I've been engaged with 3 Ball State students this week. And today is Thursday, and I'm gonna have, I just talked to one back there. I got an announcement back who got an internship for next summer. And she was crazy enough to come and see me before this all started, Rob, and said, you helped me go towards a vision and mission for my life, and it's around hospitality. And I thought, dear God, me? So I wasn't looking to affect all of Ball State's campus. I just wanted to affect one in my community. That was it. And I'm actually affecting more than one. And I have no clue, but I think it's part of it is just I'm trying to stay authentic. I'm trying to show them my mistakes and show them my successes and stay in proper alignment, trust my team, and get the hell out the way. That's what I'd say.
You brought up mistakes.
Yeah.
Do you have one that you could share?
Oh, absolutely. One of my mentors, dear friend, Kevin Brown. Kevin is an affiliate. He also has a transportation, awesome black car service, and we also do black car service. We help one another. But that's all he does. We do a whole lot of other things. Well, he said, hey, you guys have a business opportunity. We're going to give you this trip for a VIP customer of ours. And I'm like, great, Kevin. He goes, who's driving? I said, I think I'll do this one. As they like to say, the boss has got it. I'm like, I hate that word. Boss has got it, whatever. I forgot to schedule the alarm for the right time. I set it at 4 p.m. Why, Rob? So my wife would say, it was because when I scheduled it, I didn't have my glasses on. You got to laugh at yourself. So I get the call from the customer. I didn't hear it because I accidentally put the phone on mute also. And I heard the second call because the light was shining. I'm like, oh, dear God. I look and it's my friend, my mentor friend, dear friend. And he goes, JP, my customer's irate, nobody there. They had to get an Uber. Dropped the ball. So, failed, right? Sounds like it. No, not really.
Recovery, let's hear it.
So, it created a process for our business. We call, our system messages the customers. You have a 24 to 48 hour call from our team. You get a call from the driver the day before that confirms the details, pickup, is there a gate code, blah, blah, blah. The morning of, the message goes to the client again that says, we're gonna pick you up. So they've received 3-4 contacts before. There is no way this guy or any person should ever miss it, be late, go to the wrong place. No way. So when you fail, it's not failure. I mean, I have a great relationship with Kevin. And he said, man, I like how you recovered. I said, Kevin, it just made me more intelligent the second go around. I'm not saying I can't fail because something still could happen, right? But I at least now know that taught me one lesson. Won't be any repeats.
Yeah, and it's a good lesson. I mean, and they should hear.
Company process.
And that's the builder side of it.
Yes.
Systems, processes.
Yes.
Check and balance.
And we do it all the time now on other things, right? They say, I get real builder anal. Man, I love that kind of stuff.
But they should hear that there's virtually no mistake that you'll move forward.
100%.
Don't fall for the lies.
No.
That you're not worthy or you made a mistake, so life's over.
Yeah.
There may be consequences to your mistake.
True.
But you always move forward.
I mean, this customer, it was funny. I called and just apologized profusely. I knew they were at the airport, and I told them, I'm like, hey, listen, your trip's going to be free. In fact, your next 3 or 4 trips are going to be free. And now what's beautiful, that customer requests me to drive every time now because I developed a relationship. And I'm like, you know what? I failed miserably. They were like, no, it's okay. It happens, blah, blah, blah. But it's wonderful. And this is his client that does that. So beautiful.
I mean, people know you're human because they're human.
Exactly.
All right. So if you could share one piece of advice or encouragement with the next generation of leaders, entrepreneurs, what would it be?
Actually, wrote them down. If James Payne, Chloe, were sitting out there and I'm at first year, right? Chloe's up here on stage and I would be looking for information from Miss Chloe. What would it be? JP, if you can't stop thinking about problem solving and helping people, getting them time back, the most precious commodity, you should probably continue doing whatever necessary to better understand the problem solving. So joining clubs, problem solving, fraternities, sororities, organizations, connecting with professionals, your class professor or a professional, I would try to do those things. I can't tell you how many calls I get on a regular basis. Do you have 15 minutes? My friend Carson, I know he's not able to be here today. Carson called me yesterday. Andy, 15 minutes. I said, Carson, I'm driving. Can you talk? Boom. And I'm like, hold on, I got to get out of the car. I'm going in the office. But 2 other things, Rob, I said, always connect to the person next to you. So my guys, my 4, they see them. You got to put your hand up. So I connected with them when I first came in, right? And I'm like, there's my guys. I'm like, man, so thankful you're here. I know they will now remember me, right? So don't feel afraid that you can't connect to somebody that you admire or that you would want to be like or emulate. The bar is set high, you guys. One of the people, I'm getting a book for you. One of the people I admire gave me this book, Dream Big by Bob Goff. If you don't know that guy, write that name down and read. When we're done with today, I want you to come and look in this bag because I have a bunch of books that one of my favorites is that, Hug Your Customer. You won't be able to put it down. I don't care what industry or profession that you're in. Jack Mitchell shares all these successful pearls, Rob, that if I were in the audience again and Chloe were talking to me, I wish she showed me this then. I told Rob before the class, I'm like, man, I can't believe I'm up on this stage. The guy who failed econ. And I talk about econ accounting almost daily with my builders and my scientist on my team, which is amazing.
All right, I gotta be honest, we have something in common.
Okay, all right.
When I was in grad school here, you have to get a C or above.
Exactly.
To move through a course, and I got a D in econ, and it was a major setback.
It was.
For me mentally.
It was.
But it's in the grand scheme of things, not a big deal.
Not a big deal. I took it a second time and excelled.
Yes. And at Ball State, it's nice because it wipes out the previous.
Exactly.
If you didn't know that. Cool. So you already talked about this a little bit, but we'll push you a little bit
Okay.
more. Work-life integration. So let's talk about it from the standpoint of, you kind of already said it's hard, and I agree with you. My wife kind of knows, like, hey, you got something big going on, you get a call at 10 o'clock, you're going to answer it.
Right.
But let's talk more about well-being.
Okay.
About
Ooh.
your personal well-being, your relationship well-being, your family relationship well-being.
Sure.
How do you manage that?
Well, I didn't do it well. Let's say that. I didn't do it well at all.
Set him up a little
Yeah, it was a very big setup. A very big setup. BC, before cardiac event. You're like, what? Yeah. This guy had a major heart attack last April 21st. Widowmaker. Anybody heard of that? Hear you. Do you know anybody who had that and is still alive? Exactly. I'm a part of a unique club of people who they call it the 13%. So the 13% club, those of us who are on this side of the widowmaker. And so the lens that I used to look through was take the call at 10 o'clock, go pick up the people at 2 o'clock, try to make sure that, hey, you can't miss picking up that person like I did, right? You got to go. And I was watching the clock and doing everything out of balance. I was completely. And chasing and trying for good things, right? I wanted to take care of my wife, take care of my daughter, take care of my team, be able to impact my community. But what about James Payne? So after the event, my cardiologist, Tina, he looks me in the eye, he goes, did you learn anything? I look at him, I go, single greatest thing that ever happened in my life. A heart attack? I went to the optometrist, and he goes, what brings you in today? And I'm like, you did. So he puts me in the chair, and he goes, what are you talking about? I said, you did. He said, no, I didn't. So Rob, he sits you in the chair, and they tell you to look in the mirror and look behind. And so I'm leaning in, and he goes, hey, pull out your phone. I'm like, okay. I pull up my phone, and he says, what brought you in again today? And I go, you did. He goes, stop. He goes, that's what brought you in. So the heart attack, not being able to see real well, all those things are things that I start to pay attention to more now, right? I used to try to look at the paper. Now I have to use my glasses to look at the paper. I try to make sure that when I engage with people, I tell them personally, I don't really think I should talk to you about my widowmaker, but to the gentleman that I had a conversation with a little bit ago, he goes, JP, that was one of the best things ever. I actually had some stuff going on. You really helped change the trajectory in my life. So I'm an ambassador in a sense now for that as far as my wellness, Rob, but helping everybody else. But so it's IndyCar. Anybody like IndyCar? I love race cars. So in IndyCar, right? They don't really hit the brakes till they come into the pits. But so I initially thought they were like brake, 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 brake. It's like, no, gas. And that's how my life was before. Now I'm kind of like, brake, gas, brake, and gas. So it's different, man.
We got to talk afterwards because I got to figure that one out.
It's hard.
So looking ahead, next 5-10 years, where do you see yourself, your family, your business?
That's a great question because we're still adding. Like I just said today, we added a new division, and 2 weeks ago, she is preparing a meal right now for a busy CEO mom, this chef on our team, which is amazing. I have a division that creates culinary delights. This is awesome. I'm that artist and evangelist, and I can do that. But as my daughter, Kennedy, killing it, University High School, she's killing it. She's learning how to drive. Dear God, help me. Dear God, help me. What I aspire to be is spending more time with her as she gets ready to transition to her collegiate pursuits, and spending more time mentoring. My parents heavily invested for me to come, and the way that I'm paying my parents back is doing this. I told them this is where I'll get a little bit emotional. that I was the first to go to college. And when I remember them dropping me off, and I remember Dr. David Davis, unfortunately one of my mentors here who's no longer alive, at the admissions office, recruiting minority students out of town, and he goes, your parents invested a lot into you, my man, and I got you this scholarship. Don't let us down. And so my time and energy and failures and successes and time that I have here is the single greatest thing I could ever give back to my parents, is the single greatest thing I could give back to the Craigs, the Chris's, the John Luganbills, the Dr. Brenda Greens, to Rob. And I'm going to do so in a weird way. I'm going to challenge you to go over, and I tell everybody at the business school all the time, go up to that statue where my parents dropped me off at, Beneficence. And I want you to look at that box that Beneficence has in her hand. And if you've never gone up to it, go. And I want you to look. And that box you'll see is open. And I always wondered, what's in that box? I'm telling you, up on this stage, one of the things that's in that box is sitting up here on that stage, right here. I'm one of the gifts that she's providing you because you're a Ball State student. One of the many gifts that I got in that box sits on my hand every single day, a reminder. I just told you about my daughter. That's another thing that I got from that box. Another thing that I'm getting is getting to spend time with my friend, and I can't wait. This is the beginning of a long relationship with this guy. I've been wanting and waiting, right? And the last part I'll tell you is looking at my daughter this morning. She's like, Dad, your talk is today. I was like, yep. She goes, are you excited? I'm like, yes. She goes, you gonna run off the stage? I'm like, I hope not. She goes, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna meet a new friend, and I'm gonna tell him cardiac. I'm gonna tell him Jay Sheets. I'm gonna tell him Chris Barney. I'm gonna talk about your mom. And I'm gonna tell him Beneficence. And she goes, okay. And I'm like, honey, go be a rock star. Dad loves you. That's where I want to go spend more time, Rob.
Yeah, I can relate to the daughter beginning to drive.
Woo! Yeah. Woo!
Scary stuff.
Yep.
You have no idea what you put your parents through.
Whew.
But it's for your advancement.
Oh, 100%.
So my translation of what you just said, much more eloquently than I could, was, and if you were in my class, we literally talked about this Tuesday, say yes to the opportunities. You have choices, right? You could walk in this room today, throw the headphones on, get it on a video. You could do that. I mean, it's free will. We're not really policing that. But you have choices. Is that worth more than the opportunity that he had, but you had too, for this? And everything that comes across your path, when somebody asks you to, yes, I'll take it.
And figure it out later.
Yeah.
How to do it.
Yeah.
Just say yes.
Say yes and work at it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
All right.
Awesome advice.
We're kind of at the end of the road here, unless you have other stuff. But if there's one key message, one thing, the one thing we call it. There's actually a book you may have heard of, The One Thing. One key message to inspire the next generation of leaders, entrepreneurs, influencers, people. They're going to make a difference in this world right here. And people that may watch this video. What is it?
I wrote this. When you're in business, guys, you used to have these things, KPIs. Anybody heard of KPIs? KPIs, right? Key Performance Index, and it's kind of like your grade card. How you doing in this category? How you doing in this category? I used to have to go through those KPI reviews every week, then every month. Remember that guy, Jeff Huffman, I told you about? We were bumping heads all the time. Well, I remember one of the last KPIs he talked about, and he came up with the socks. And I was like, he's really trying, right? Even though we're different, he's really trying. But I wrote my own KPIs. for how I want to impact you guys, my daughter, the people on my team, the people in my community, and here are my 4 KPIs. Keep people involved. Keep people interested, you being interested in them. Keep people informed about what you're doing right, what you failed at, what you did well, and keep people inspired. So each day, I struggle and try my best to do at least each one of those 4 categories. Do I do them well all the time? No. But do we try? Absolutely. You guys have the most incredible opportunity. Went over to France. Somebody's going over to Southeast Asia soon. A freshman in the audience is still figuring her way out, and her brother's a freshman, and her brother thinks college is a long way off. A guy's going to come up here and go, what am I going to say to my friends, students, about leadership, and I struggle with it every day. Keep them involved, JP. Did you see my involvement getting you involved? Keep them interested, JP. I came out and introduced myself to you all. Keep them informed. I was telling Rob, hey, everything's good. Here's the day I'm coming. Works with your schedule. Does that work great? Hey, we're gonna continue our relationship afterwards. My friend Tina, hey, JP's gonna be up at Ball State, friends. You should probably get up there. That's crazy. And my last one is I hope I inspired you. That's what halo is, the significance, right? God gave me this idea about under Jay Sheets, and I didn't know it. It was when I was 12 or 13, Rob. And he was like, go help people get their time back. So we, them, and him can get engagement to do whatever they want to do. You want to work out, you want to go to sleep, you want to read some books, you want to go vacation. That's the business. Our team is helping you get that time back to figure out whatever it is you want to do. Hopefully not go have a cardiac arrest. That's for sure. But if so, it may very well change your life in a good way.
You know what's so cool, the timing of what you just said? We have spring break next week.
Got it.
Everybody's excited about that.
Yep.
After that, though, in my class, we're doing, for 2 class sessions the whole week, we're doing an exercise, and we built up to this with some creativity stuff, with 2 assessment tools, so they kind of learn about who they are. And so that week after spring break, we're doing basically a passion, mission, purpose exercise.
Oh, wow.
That they'll walk through.
Wow.
And it's not static, it's dynamic. You're young, it's gonna change. That's okay though, you need to learn the drill.
Yes.
And how to think through these things, and you get to decide. They get to decide. Nobody defines that for you. Your purpose is your purpose, and it's unique to you. So think about how JP's done that. It started with the grass cutting, probably before that, truthfully.
Yeah.
But it evolves.
Yeah.
You know? So don't blow that exercise off here in my class.
Please.
And if you're in Dr. Dixon's class and you want that exercise, I'll send it to you. Just send me a note.
Can I interject for a second?
No, absolutely.
I blew that stuff off countless times, man, and I look back, and I'm so regretting. Jay Sheets was the entrepreneur that I knew. My parents, UPS guy, receptionist mom, doing everything they could to raise boys. Man, if I knew then, Dr. Kretko, entrepreneur program, Kretko,
yeah.
I saw him one time here and I was like, I just couldn't relate. I didn't dream big enough. I hope that's hitting home. How big is your dream? I hope that was the key thing. Maybe you aren't dreaming yet, and that's okay. I had no clue. I didn't know how to start a business. I remember going to the Bank of America, Rob, with $500. I'm like, can you even open a business account for $500? They laughed. Bank of America is literally mentioned in my mouth. Look, I just did it again, once a day, because they believed in a small little business guy like myself. And so now I'm just taking and marketing and doing stuff, not getting paid to do it. It's just because they tried and they invested in the guy. And they helped teach me the things that I probably should have learned here if I'd have done the assessments.
It's always time, though.
It's time.
Always time.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So we're gonna do the hardest thing for us.
Oh, yes.
The old guys. You know, the selfie thing. Are you good at selfie?
I am. My daughter has taught me well.
I stink at it.
Yes. You got the phone, though.
Okay. I
Yeah, you got the phone.
I got the phone. I can do that.
Okay.
And we're gonna do like an audience selfie, and then we're gonna do Q&A.
Yes.
And I know there's
do it.
there's questions you want to ask.
Let's do it.
So.
Yep. You got this thing.
All right.
Your arm is longer than mine.
Is
I'm
it?
just,
Really?
you know, I think so.
All right. You tell me if I'm doing a good job here.
There you go.
Good. All right.
Sweet. We did it. Yeah, did we master that one okay?
And we got a little gift.
Awesome, man.
From JP.
Thank you.
so-
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right. So we're gonna hop down. We're coming to you. Concierge
Boom.
service.
How about that? There's a question. There's a question.
So much.
Yes, absolutely. Introduce yourself.
I'm Molly. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yep.
And thank you so much for being open about your faith too. I appreciate that. And I saw that you went to Disney and you did a lot of stuff with them. So I am thinking about like interning with Disney. You know, maybe doing something. So how did you? Because that's a hard company to get your foot in the door with sometimes. How did
Yep.
you get your foot in the door? Like, what did you learn from that? And
Yeah.
what advice did you give to somebody?
So my interaction with Disney came by way of being the concierge for the Super Bowl. So I didn't even have to go to Disney. Disney came to me and all of our participants. So that kind of is a split kind of conversation. But I'll give you something that I did not want to go down to Disney after that, because I didn't get a chance to go as a elementary school student, middle school, high school. Didn't get it. You know, my parents were struggling, and they did everything they were supposed to, get me to Ball State, not to Disney. So when I went to Disney, it was actually for the first time, it was through Merck & Company. And I went and I cried, I think, as I'm walking through the park. It was crazy. It was amazing. But my daughter, after I went through this Disney experience, you know, the little girl, they want to go to Disney, and there we are, I'm carrying her around Disney. And it was miserable because she was so little, and I'm doing everything. My wife, God bless her soul, we are voluntold is our word. We're voluntold we're going to Disney this fall or this spring, and then my daughter wants to keep going. So to answer your question, you know where you want to go. I would be looking online. I would be reaching out to people. And like I said, if there's any, I know by way of a relationship of a person who does the connections for Disney. So connect with me before we leave so I can maybe throw in a name to her. And I actually have to talk to her before this weekend, so perfect timing. Yep, perfect timing, perfect timing. How about that? Yep.
So, listening to you speak, you kind of come across as like work hard, dream big. And sometimes being in college, I'm a senior, it can kind of be a struggle to self-motivate to kind of like get through the hard times to get there. Because I know dreaming big, I've also got big dreams, but it's the getting there sometimes and the long nights and lots of homework. How do you find yourself self-motivating when you've got really long, tough days?
Absolutely, positively, greatest question ever. Because that's what I struggle with a lot as an entrepreneur. You have your phone?
I do.
Can you pull it out?
Yeah.
Can you pull up your camera? Can you look into it for me? I'm going to get behind you. When do you struggle the most?
Oh gosh.
Morning, evening, after class, after workout?
After class in the evenings.
Okay, you ready? We're going to do something together right in front of everybody. They're not here. It's just you and I. Ready? Put a camera on. And tell me your first name again.
Jess.
Jess? Okay. Ready? Video?
Video? All right.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Hey, Jess. What's going on? It's JP. Hey, Hey, listen, you remember you and I were at a conversation, you were talking about struggling? You're a few months away from graduating. You remember that? Mm-hmm. You can't quit now. You're too close. In fact, there's a bunch of people behind us watching us, and one of which I talked to, she's a first year, and she's probably gonna get to where you are right now. You, my friend, are gonna be the motivation for that young lady I spoke to just a little bit ago. So, you watch this video every single chance you get tired, you get a bad grade, you get a bad conversation, and remember this guy who failed a couple more times than you, who also didn't want to wake up and go to class. I've got this diploma that my parents and I and Dr. Rob all says, you're a Ball State graduate, and you, my friend, are going to get there too. Trust me.
Thank you.
You all want him as a professor, don't you?
So, when you get tired, you check in with your friends. You check in with whoever. But the most important person is right there, you. So, yeah, you're going to get tired. You're going to reach in your pocket and think, oh, I'm broke. But I just gave you the best gift, and it's you. I just happen to be in the video. You brought in a special guest, but it's really you talking to yourself in advance. So I already know I'm going to come across some humps and hurdles. I want you to send me that video. So you got to make sure I get your number, because then when I get tired and I'm like, can I do this speaking engagement with another friend? I'm going to go, oh my God, we did it together. JP, you did something good. You helped impact my community. That's why I want that video. So I'm going to come across that same bridge, and I want that video. And I'm going to be looking, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I hope that helped.
Thank you.
Questions? I think Chloe gets a dib on a question if you want. If you don't have one, that's okay. But you were kind of a star.
She's a star. She's a rock star.
No?
Her and my cardiac friend.
Who else has questions? We don't want Chloe on the spot. Oh, she
Yeah.
does.
Oh, sweet, 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 sweet. Don't be afraid to ask this question. I'm the guy that asks every dumb question. My wife's like, shh, stop, no, please. Go ahead, Chloe.
When you started your business and everything,
Yes.
what was a great way to maybe organize everything that you started and put everything together and make sure that everybody feels comfortable and connected to your business?
Man, that is good. Chloe, you keep getting better, sister. Which, they don't have it here anymore, Tina. Dill Street Bar and Grill. Remember that place? My parents are like, is that what I paid for? Yeah. We would get together, share ideas. And Chloe, it's the same thing. It's not maybe not at a bar, but we get together regularly, right? I try to as much as possible. My team is kind of scattered. I call like I'd call my mentees. So as I told you, I had a call on the way up here to help me figure out this, and then I have to make a call to Kelsey, my assistant, my right hand. She's like my big daughter. A lot of you heard her name before. So I'm like, Kelsey's gonna say, what'd you do? Did you get a video? Yes, Kelsey, I got a video. I didn't even know it was coming. She's gonna give me my video. I can't wait. So when we get these ideas, I'm like, you know what, guys? My zipper was unzipped. Blah, blah, blah. Any of that kind of stuff, I put it all together and to say, hey, you guys, if you're going to do a speaking engagement, you probably shouldn't do this. Or you should probably talk, and get in the audience and do that. And then I collect all the ideas. I go back and, as a good professor once told me, review your notes, JP. You might be able to easily pass the test if you do that. I'm like, oh, dear God. It does work, Professor. And so, Dr. Tom Baird. Dr. Baird. Blast from the past. Marketing. We graduated. He treated us down, got pizza. Some of the older kids got beers or whatever. We sat there and I'm like, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get through that last class. And he goes, you read those notes, didn't you? And you're like, out of all your professors, I'm 52 years old. This is the 20-year-old JP. How do I remember that guy's name? He made an impact. Answer your question.
Dude looks like he's 32. 52.
Great. Good.
Questions?
Good genes. Good parents.
Questions?
Yeah. Here, I got it. Yep. What's happening?
So thank you again for speaking and coming here. But I really wanted to ask you, when it comes down to trusting your business decisions, when you're navigating uncertainty, how did you come to find your voice and come to find confidence in that decision that you made?
Good question. Good question. First off, thank you. One of my buddies, when I started at the healthcare company Merck, he's a Marine. Eric Daly. You have to look that guy up. Tranquilius is his company. Check it out. I love that name. Eric told me a story about paratroopers. It's like sometimes you jump out, you got the parachute on, you practice jumping out. He said sometimes they kick you out. I'm like, oh. Well, that's kind of how I felt a little bit in business. Merck kicked me out. And I was like, dear God, I have no parachute. Falling out my plane. But Eric taught me another lesson. Don't be afraid to jump out the plane without a parachute. Know there's a gentleman or a lady who went before you who has one on. And if you know the proper way to get to them quickly before you crash land and you can get onto them, congrats. You survived that day. And they'll teach you how to fall out the plane correctly. Then he also said this one, there's a gentleman or a lady behind you who also can speed up to you and can catch you if you took care of them on your way down. So in life, when I take care of customers, I'm so hard about trying to take care of my customer right, because if I do what's right, Walt Disney says, do something so well that another person will bring another person with them to watch you do what you do so well. And so everything we do is, if I made a mistake, you tell them, you know what, I'm so sorry. We failed you. This is what happened. This is how we're going to improve so that we don't make this mistake again. That's to me going out that parachute like, hey, do you have your parachute? It's probably a little too late. Before we get on the plane, right? We're walking out to the plane. Like, you got your parachute? You got your parachute? I'm going in between you two. So thank God to a guy like Eric Daly sharing me those conversations. Thank God to Walt Disney and saying, JP, you can do whatever you want to do. Do it really well and watch the people bring other friends. I've been trying to meet this guy because I know he does what he does well. And now look, he brought some friends. And I'm going to get some friends now. I know one new friend that's going to hang out a little bit when she graduates. She's going to share her contact information. Chloe's going to share her contact information. And I'm going to be looking, Rob, how can I help this new graduate? Don't you think? I can't wait. I'm going to be so excited. I'm like, oh, man, she's just like me. I'm on a mission to figure out what you do now, to connect, to figure out how I can help you. Because if I help you, you're going to turn around and be like, hey, remember I sat in front of you or sat behind you? Did that guy get you that internship or job? And then he's going to start telling the next person. And that's how we affect our community.
Anybody else? Question?
Very, it was a great talk today.
Thank you.
Really, really, really great. I guess my question here, kind of a little basic question, but like, if you could go back, maybe like to a younger version of yourself, just starting out or something, what would be a good piece of advice?
Wow. Dream bigger, JP. Dream bigger. Yeah. JP, you're going to be a Ball State graduate. And you're going to be on stage with this phenom. rock star. And you're going to meet some people. They're going to listen to your advice. I wish I had my phone. 10-year-old JP, wait till you see when you get here. I just helped her with her future person and my future person. That, dream big. One of my mentors, she's a client, Teresa Suits. You want to follow one of the coolest ladies on the planet? Teresa Suits, T Suits. I think it's T Suits 13. Coolest lady on the planet. I look at her lifestyle and I'm like, wow, I get to be around that lady. Some of the books that you'll find in my bag were gifts of Teresa Suits. If the 10 or 12-year-old JP was like, I'm gonna talk to who? And all I asked for was like, I think I might be able to become a concierge. And I backed up. I was actually scared because I couldn't spell concierge. I before E or E before E. He's laughing. It's true. French, right? I was like, the French, they're so weird how they spell English. Is this right? And I was always afraid on my website or when I gave out cards, did I spell concierge right or wrong? I was always worried about that. Not how can I solve your problem? I was so worried about spelling it wrong as opposed to doing the business. Yeah, and so my scientist friends and my builder friends would have been like, your website, it's terrible. It doesn't have this and that. I have a friend, the Jumpstart guy I told you guys about. He goes, we only have a website for the first couple years. And I'm like, John, your website's trash. He goes, yeah, but have you been to Bank of America? Other questions? I love her Snickers. How you doing?
Great, how are you?
Good.
So from what I've been hearing throughout your talk and the questions, I see you found and surrounded yourself with a lot of great people. How did you find those people, or did those people find you?
Hybrid of your answer. And then my answer is hybrid. Kelsey, my right hand, my assistant, internship. It started out as an internship via my business manager. She goes, I think I've got the person for you to help with some social media stuff. And my previous right hand, great friend Monica, was transitioning away and out. And I thought, oh, dear God, that's going to hurt. My business is going to be affected. And Monica still is on our team. She's just in another state. When she comes in, she comes and works for us. But little did I know the gift and skill set that little lady Kelsey, like my daughter, was going to bring. Man, it's unbelievable. You should see this chick. She is amazing. And I could go down around the list, the Noels, the Jackies, the Brandons, the AJs, all of them, you know. I got a countless team of really gifted in their own individual industry people. If your circle, let's see, what was the guy's name? Nipsey Hussle. You guys know who that is? Rapper guy? I read this quote from Nipsey. It was, if the people surrounding you, if they're better than you, or if they're not as good as you, it's not a circle of friends, it's a cage. Think about that. If the circle of people around you aren't better than you, and you don't aspire to be where they are, that's not a circle, that's a cage. You're only going to be as good as that pigeon group. Baby, you're Ball State. What do? Fly, baby, fly. If you hang around me long enough, you're really going to believe that. My mom, there's a rule at our house, Rob, 72 hours. I'm going to show her this video. She said, did you tell them? I was like, I sure did. 72 hours. 72 hours, I have to call her. Every 72 hours. So my mother had a major life event and changed our lives together. She's living, it's wonderful, thank you. But every 72, when I leave here, that'd be the first call I make. Thank you for praying for me. Thank you for praying for Kelsey's and our team. And thank you for praying for this opportunity that he and Candy in Ball State gifted me and our family and you and us. our relationship and the rest of you.
And you get to have that call.
I get to have that call.
I don't anymore.
If
And I'm
it-
sure some of us in the
Yeah.
audience don't.
That's another aspire. Kennedy, my little girl, will be sitting in a seat here one day, here or elsewhere. I pray that some man or woman will walk up to her and do what I just did to you. I pray. I hope that she gets a professor that cares enough to challenge you and push you. I pray. Her mom prays. So that I can sit here and go, it was worth it. That a girl. I told your 10 self you would be good. And so I told all that time, you guys. So my goal, before leaving, I have a personal goal. You don't have to raise your hand, but I hope that you will get on the phone. I don't want you to text. I want you to call. Whoever you call, mom or dad or guardian, grandma, grandpa, and go, this bald, barely seeing guy, Ball State alum, checked me hard and said I should probably check in. He said that you might need it, but it's actually me who needed it. Watch, wait, and see the results. He asked me a question, one of the best ones. Impact your community. I think, Rob, that's the single greatest thing that I could do for this group today. Just, if you would do me one favor, just one. If you do that, send me a LinkedIn how that went. You could be like, it was terrible. They didn't want to hear my voice. Okay, we'll work out another call. Or JP, that was exactly what I needed. Don't thank me. Thank Catherine Payne. That's mom.
Does this dude know how to breathe in people or what? It's fun. I hope this was fun for you as it was for me. This was great. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
You.
Yep.
We're at the end of the road.
Awesome, man. Yeah, awesome.
If you're in my class, make sure you do your 3 p.m.